Hi and welcome back to Prologue to Wellness, the podcast where we break down women's health with clarity and compassion. I'm Cheryl, and today we're diving into something that comes up again and again for women: why energy, recovery, and hormones are so deeply linked. We'll be exploring how iron, hormones, and recovery intersect, and why this matters for every woman, whether you're in your 20s, your postpartum, or if you're moving through menopause. We're joined today by Dr. Sue. Dr. Sue is our lead doctor at Prologue, and we're going to start with the basics. Dr. Sue, we hear a lot about low iron in women. Is this common?
Yes, actually, this is quite common in women, but the issue is a lot of women don't actually even realize that they have low iron
levels.
or we call it iron deficiency. I feel that it's because a lot of the times we think that, I just feel a bit tired, and you just blame it on maybe overwork, not enough sleep, and things like that. But maybe iron deficiency is the reason.
Okay, so what are some of the telltale signs that someone is not just tired, is a little bit more like iron deficient?
Okay, so we look in if a woman feels very tired. So usually, if you look at iron deficiency, maybe during their menses.
Okay.
Right, they may have this issue. So one of them is like if you have very heavy menses, and then we don't have enough, to replenish the stores or iron stores, then you feel like maybe there's a low iron. Okay, another thing will be like if a person has reduced its nutritional intake, for example, that is like for food that is high in iron, like red meat and things like that, that can also cause low iron. Yeah. So these are the few things that we look into, but obviously there are also other
Other
medical
causes.
causes.
So, I guess in layman terms, usually, women are more prone to having low iron is it because of our menses?
Yes, I think probably that, and also the fact that pregnant women. Pregnant women also sometimes. We have low iron.
Okay.
That's why in the pregnant ladies, right, usually the gynae will give iron supplements and stuff like that to help. So that's why in a way women is more because of our menses, and then we have pregnancy, things like that is we suffer from this iron deficiency more than men in general, I think. Yeah.
So how does diet play a part in this? Like if we don't, given a male and a woman and they both eat the same, is it that the woman would be?
No, I think in terms, if it's diet, which is the reason, then I do think that men and women will have this issue, right? Quite similar. If you are not eating a lot of red meat, for example, then you have a possibility of iron deficiency. So I think the most important thing is for those with a diet issue is to really make sure that they have a well balanced, even to have a little bit of red meat. If for those who are vegetarian, then they have to find other sources or supplements, to help to improve their iron.
So Dr. Sue, how do I know whether, say, I am iron deficient? What are the clear signs?
Okay, so usually if a person is have iron deficiency, they will come they feel very fatigued, very tired, right? And then they look a bit pale. So how do we check for this pale? So somebody look at the eye, so we look at the eyelids here.
And
yes, the conjunctiva. Then if it's not red, it's very, very pale, very white, then you know that maybe that's one of the reasons.
Okay.
Another way is looking through the mouth, but then that one is more for us. Maybe we can look at that. And then the other thing is people who are iron deficient, for example, they are doing something more with effort, running up a stairs or taking the stairs rather than the escalator, that they feel very breathless.
Okay.
They feel palpitation. So maybe that is another indication. Now, for older ladies, if they come and they have this issue, we also need to rule out hormonal imbalances versus iron deficiency. So that group of ladies will be a little bit more difficult to distinguish sometimes. But I would definitely order a blood test, the health screening, to rule out whether it's iron deficiency or if it's
a hormonal balance. Because the symptoms are so similar, but a blood test would be able to clarify all of that.
Exactly, because if you look at hormone imbalance, you also get brain fog. You also feel a bit fatigued, but maybe not the paleness, but you also feel. Sometimes people say, maybe they have a bit of palpitations, but we do not. So we need to know.
One question that I also have is if you take iron pills without knowing whether you're iron deficient, would that be like too much iron in your body? And is that a risk?
Yes, too much iron is no good. Too little iron is
also not good.
Yeah, because both gives you usually affects the heart. So we have to be very, very careful, right? Too much of, sometimes iron has side effects.
Okay.
I'm not sure whether people know. Those who are on iron supplements, they will know that maybe constipation and things like that, or tummy issues
Will be one of
yes.
as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Any like serious heart conditions or whatever?
The supplements are, the dosage of the supplements are good. They're not going to cause, but then if you don't need it, you don't need to take it. I suppose if if you need to find out if it's truly iron deficient.
Okay. I guess if you want to really know, the blood test is what we're saying. That would be the definitive answer as to whether or not you are iron deficient, or if it could be just hormonal, or maybe you just need more sleep.
Right? Maybe, yes. So, we have to, usually the definitive way to find out all this is through the health screening or the blood test, yes.
Okay, got it. Okay, so now we know a little bit more about iron deficiency and hormonal balances and why you feel sometimes a little bit tired. It could be one or the other, or it could be maybe also lifestyle.
Or maybe even sometimes like sort of interlink, they could be linked a little bit. You never know, right? Yeah.
So I guess for you to really understand your body, that's the first step, for you to know, what's the root cause of the issue. Okay, so Dr. Sue, let's say if we have a patient of yours that is iron deficient, let's make it a little bit practical. What can he or she do? Okay,
so first, after we find out there's iron deficient, so we need to find out the cause, right? Then we try to fix the cause. So if menorrhagia is the reason for the iron deficient, then we have to try to see whether we can reduce the menorrhagia. So we do have medication to help with that.
Okay.
So other things to replenish the iron is to increase the dietary, food that is high in iron. Then the last thing will be supplements. Sometimes we do give supplements for like 3 or 4 months, and then after that, maybe we repeat the blood test again and see how it goes. But we always encourage people to take a little bit of red meat. It's very important. There are a lot of people who wants to cut down on red meat because of health purposes or all that. But there must be some sort of balance. That's one. If the iron deficiency is due to other very serious medical issues, like let's say bleeding somewhere and things like that, then we really do need to go to the emergency or see a doctor urgently, because this sort of thing will, like I said, it will affect the heart, so it's very important.
So it can get quite serious.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, if it's hormonal, okay, I can tell you this is not an easy topic just to my advice, if it's hormonal, is to come down and to see us and have a consultation with us. That's where we help. I think it's a very individual approach for hormonal, I would say. There's lots and lots of ways where we can help, looking at the patient or the clients or the customers itself, and see how they are before we advise them.
Okay, it's a very individual approach because everyone's hormones and everything is very, very different. So I think for ladies here who often feel fatigued, they feel tired, and if they are wondering that maybe why am I not recovering and all that, the best way I would imagine is to really come and see us, have a chat with Dr. Sue, who can advise accordingly, because we're all individuals and we're all very different. So thank you so much for sharing, Dr. Sue. I think we learned a little bit, and we know that iron is actually going to be something that affects our energy. It might cause a bit of brain fog. You might even feel like your recovery is slow. So this is where you can consider a health screening with a women's health consult with us at Prologue. So thank you for shedding so much light today and helping us really link the whole story behind hormones and iron. It's quite a complex issue, right? Okay. Don't forget to also like this video and share it. And if you find that there's someone that might benefit from this, feel free to forward this to them. And this is our Prologue to Wellness podcast. Don't forget to look out for our next episode. Till then, take care and be well.